Good morning, children. In components of food lesson, we discussed the various nutrients of food. The major nutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Let's have a look at the various sources of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. In this picture, you can see the cereals like wheat, rice, bajra, and potato. We can say potato, mango, sugarcane, sweet potato. All these sources give carbohydrates to our body. The carbohydrates, they are energy giving food. Now here you can see the sources of fats. Fats gives heat and energy to our body. So here there are plant sources and animal sources. The oil from various seeds and nuts gives us the fat. Then from animal sources like egg, fish, meat, and milk products give us fat to our body. Now here you can see the sources of proteins. Here also plant sources and animal sources are there. The plant sources means the pulses, various pulses, that means various dal, moong dal, grams, peas, soya beans, all these seeds give us protein to our body. So protein we get from animal products also like fish, meat, egg, milk. They also help us to build our muscles. So they are called bodybuilding food. Now next, the vitamins. The vitamins help keep our body disease free and keep our body healthy. So in vitamin A, it keeps our eyes, skin healthy. Vitamin B develops strong muscles. The sources are liver, wheat, and rice, means brown rice, etc. Now vitamin C, it is the citrus fruits are very rich in vitamin C. They help our body to fight against many diseases. Now vitamin D, it is available in fish, liver, egg, and milk. Even it is available in the sunlight. So the children are allowed to play in the sunlight to get direct vitamin D because it is synthesized in the under the skin. Now the minerals are there. This in the picture you can see the sources of iodine, the sources of phosphorus, and some sources of iron, and some sources of calcium. So these minerals help our body function properly and maintain good health. Now let us discuss, do all food contains all these nutrients? With some simple methods, we can test whether the cooked food or raw ingredient contains one or more of these nutrients. Let's watch this video carefully.
Test for starch, protein and fat. In this module, you will learn to test the presence of starch, protein and fat in food items. One should have milk in his diet because it is a complete food. But what is meant by complete food? Complete food means the food that contains all the required components of food such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, etc. Milk contains almost all of these required components, so it is a complete food. Let us conduct an activity to find out the presence of components of food such as starch, protein and fat in different food items. To conduct this activity, you need a few potatoes, pulses in powdered form, crushed cashew nuts, a knife, a dropper, a candle, a matchbox, test tubes, iodine solution, copper sulfate solution, caustic soda solution, and water. Let us first test the food items for the presence of starch. Take 4 test tubes. Now mark them as A, B, C and D and place them in a test tube stand. Cut a small piece of potato with the knife and put it in the test tube A. Take a little quantity of powdered pulse and put it in the test tube B. In the test tube C, add a few pieces of crushed cashew nuts. In the test tube D, add a little amount of water and label this as control. With the help of a dropper, add few drops of iodine solution in each test tube. Now wait for 1 to 2 minutes and observe. What do you observe? The potato piece in the test tube A turned blue-black. You can also observe that no change has occurred in the test tubes B, C and D. Starch reacts with iodine solution to give a blue-black color. The test tube containing potato showed blue-black coloration. This confirms that potato contains starch. Let us now perform next activity to test the presence of proteins in the food items. First, take 4 test tubes. Now mark them as A, B, C and D and place them in a test tube stand. Now, similar to the first experiment, put a piece of potato in test tube A, a little quantity of powdered pearls in the test tube B, and few pieces of crushed cashew nuts in test tube C. In the test tube D, add a little amount of water and label this as control. Then add few drops of water in each test tube. Shake all the test tubes well. Now, with the help of dropper, add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution and few drops of caustic soda to each test tube. Again, shake all the test tubes well. And wait for a few minutes. Observe the change in color in all the test tubes. This time you will observe that in the test tube B, the color of the food item changes from blue to violet. But why is it so? This is because proteins give violet color on reacting with copper sulfate and caustic soda. Hence, we conclude that pulses contain proteins. Pulses are a rich source of proteins. Let's conduct a test that confirms the presence of fat in food substances. Take 4 pieces of paper. Mark these pieces as A, B, C and D respectively. On paper A, keep a small potato. On paper B, keep powdered pulses. On paper C, keep crushed cashew nuts. Do not keep anything on paper D. Wrap each food item in its respective papers and crush them properly. Now straighten the papers and remove the food items from them. What do you observe on the paper pieces? Let us see. There is nothing on the paper A and paper B. There are some peculiar patches on the paper C. No, there is nothing on paper D also. Let us find out more about the patches on paper C. Are these patches oily? Light a candle and hold it against the light. What do you observe? A very faint light passes through the oily patch. An oily patch on the paper confirms the presence of fat in food item. Therefore, we can conclude that cashew nut contains fat. In this module, you have learned that food items contain some essential components. For example, potatoes contain starch, pulses contain protein, cashew nut contains fat.
Children, what do these tests show? Are fats, proteins and starch present in all the food items? No. Some food items contains carbohydrates. Other food item contains protein. And some other food items contains fats. You may have noticed this in the above activities. However, in a given raw materials, one particular nutrient may be present in much larger quantity than in others. So, we should eat a balanced diet. So, what is meant by balanced diet? A diet which contains all the required nutrients in proper proportion along with the dietary fibers and water is called a balanced diet. A person may be getting enough food to eat, but sometimes the food may not contain particular nutrient. If this continues over a long period of time, they suffer from deficiency diseases. So, diseases that occur due to lack of nutrients over a long period are called deficiency diseases. Here are some diseases caused by deficiency of vitamins and minerals. I hope you understood clearly. Now, your assignment questions are as follows. You write the answers in your assignment notebook. Thank you, children.